How's it going, everybody? Jack here with another reaction here with my cat who is trying to figure out how to lay down. You find yourself a good position? Good, then I can continue. So, today's video is sort of unhinged, at least in its title. Kyrgyzstan is known for sometime being a little bit fast and loose with the way that they formulate certain things, and I kind of love it because it feels a little bit out of pocket, but there is an intent with that. And this time around, I think that this might just be the wildest that they decided to go with, but if my intuitions are correct, I would assume that we're about to witness a great case of grade A reverse psychology with this. But that's just my speculation. Let's watch what the video actually has to say.
The problem with smoking is that it's kind of amazing. This is an irresponsible thing to say, but if we're going to talk about it, we might as well do so honestly. Smoking creates a temporary problem and offers an instant solution. Once your brain is used to nicotine, for up to 72 hours you're itchy, nervous and stressed. But one drag and instantly you feel really good.
Wow.
But it's way more than just a physical addiction. Smoking helps you focus at work and isn't...
No, lo-fi girl. She's been studying for a while. I understand the stress that needs to be relieved. A little bit of dopamine and get some of those endorphins going with a drag. My God. They are wild for choosing her for this edit.
Excuse to take regular breaks, which is good for you mentally. It's a tool against boredom, it suppresses your appetite, it makes bad moments feel less bad and good moments better. It's social, fun together, and a good way to make friends as smokers always group up. Your lips are one of the most sensitive parts of your body, and putting something between them is deeply satisfying. So now that we've given smoking an honest introduction, let's smoke a cigarette together to see why it makes you feel so good and what exactly happens inside your body when you do it.
I like how they decided, editing-wise, to go with a sort of direction similar to the time-slowing smoking thing that you have in Dread 3D. Remember that movie with Carl Urban? Yeah, and the drug that was designed by Mama that slowed down time. It's a similar effect.
The best worst thing. A cigarette is dried tobacco leaves mixed with chemicals that make it burn slowly, helping you to absorb nicotine and flavors that make the smoke less harsh. Let's light it. Cigarette smoke is 95% gases like carbon dioxide and water vapor.
Yeah.
The remaining 5% are particles called tar, and they contain the magic sauce, carbon or nitrogen compounds filled with nicotine. As you inhale, billions of particles interact with everything they pass through, getting stuck on your throat, tongue and trachea. Your lungs are like big inflatable sponges and have a filter and barrier. The cilia cells with hair-like extensions covered by a layer of mucus.
Ooh, they're gonna have a rough time now. Beside the dust and all the weird particles that you sometimes inhale that they have to carry, now comes the extra sauce.
They trap dust or bacteria to be swept away in a sort of dance. Tar particles land in the mucus and turn into a sticky brown substance that stops the dance and paralyzes the cilia, allowing them to get deeper into your lungs to the alveoli. Yeah. Alveoli are little air sacs, and here's where your actual breathing happens.
Sensitive.
They have very thin walls so that oxygen can transfer to your blood and carbon dioxide can leave. Now the magic is released. Nicotine passes through the thin walls and enters your bloodstream, reaching your brain so fast that it feels instant. The positive effect arrives right away. If your brain had a control board, smoking would be like pressing all the buttons at once, releasing loads of transmitters and hormones that affect your whole body. Epinephrine and...
I'm sorry. This is making a callback to the whole this is your brain on drugs.
Releasing loads of transmitters and hormones that affect your whole body.
Yeah.
Epinephrine and cortisol make your heart beat faster and your body ready for action.
True.
Dopamine makes you feel happy and relaxed and reduces your appetite.
So think about that. You get both energized and relaxed at the same time. Like, seriously. Put down your tail. Where are you going? Who wouldn't want to partake in something like that? Obviously, being a bit sarcastic here, but going with the flow of the video.
Beta endorphins reduce pain and stress. Nicotine excites and calms you at the same time.
Yeah.
You become more alert and able to focus, your nerves become more sensitive to pleasant sensations, then your whole body relaxes. Together, all of these effects just feel great.
This is one of the reasons why in, for example, the Conan Doyle books, or sometime even in some of the movies and depictions of Sherlock Holmes, despite the fact that the Sherlock Holmes Foundation has the whole thing of Sherlock not being depicted as being happy, being a problem, but the addiction part of his nicotine and other drug substance are made quite prevalent in the books, as these are the psychoactive things that actually makes his brain go.
But your brain immediately tries to return to normal and pushes back against the effects of nicotine, which is fine as long as you have nicotine inside your blood, but once its effects wear off, your body is left overcompensating, creating a massive imbalance within itself. The more you smoke, the harder your body tries to push back, which is why nicotine is so addictive. You stop feeling like yourself without it. It's still great, but now you also need it just to feel normal. If that was all smoking did, well, that would be kind of okay.
Oh no. If I may, I want to showcase one of my favorite games of all times called Disco Elysium, where you actually have, I do have some clips on it because I want to make a review of the thing, where, for example, through your alcohol consumption, you can get some extra, let me see. Yeah, there we go. It actually showcases the alcohol groups. Yeah, right there. So you get your physique raised, which is a thing that alcohol does, beside, of course, lowering such things as the leptin level in your blood and so on and so forth. But you get a damage in morale. But do I not have another one here? Yes, there we go. Intellect raised with the use of a smoke. The side effects are something that you can either feel immediately or the day after you play the game. It's quite the interesting RPG, but it's like a move that you can choose to do in the game, especially on the second day if you do not desire to go on the path of evolution, meaning that to have a strong will. And yeah, that's how it goes. This is of course not to say that quitting smoking is exclusively done through strong will. Absolutely not. Nicotine is one of the most addictive compounds that we have, and the winding off of it, both just physically, is one thing, but the psychological aftershocks, I could say, that your body will feel are wild. I have several family members who have died of cancer, and one of them, my uncle, my dad's older brother, was a math professor who unfortunately succumbed to lung cancer because of his insane nicotine consumption. And yeah, I do not wish this upon anyone.
Nicotine comes with thousands of different chemical buddies. Cadmium, lead, arsenic and cyanide, hydrogen peroxide or nitrogen oxides cause damage wherever they end up. Carbon monoxide reduces how much oxygen your blood can carry.
Yeah.
In your lungs, your cilia cells struggle. It's hard to push mucus clogged up with tar, and some of your cilia cells die.
Yeah.
Your alveoli are super sensitive and can't handle this sort of stress. A few of your tiny air sacs pop like balloons, causing irreparable damage. Your body needs to get rid of all this tar immediately. Goblet cells pump out extra mucus to compensate, which makes breathing harder, so you start coughing to get the tar and mucus out. Your immune system activates and macrophages begin eating up tar particles.
Oh no.
Smokers have way more of these cleanup cells here because their lungs are literally full of dirt. But the nicotine makes the macrophages sluggish and inefficient. Worse, they vomit chemicals that dissolve your lung tissue and cause tiny wounds that turn into scar tissue. Scars in your lungs are bad if you like breathing.
Oh, so, okay, so an extra commentary here. My mom suffers from KOL, K-O-L in Danish. Perhaps it might be C-O-L in English, I'm not too sure. But it stands for a chronically obstructive lung disease, if I were to give you a direct translation. And she only has like 32% lung capacity. She is weak, but Man, she's a fighter. But she did not get this from smoking. It was more like scars that she actually got from both cold and some injuries at work. So just thinking about the fact that you can acquire something similar by indulging in something that is pleasurable, it's kind of wild.
Nicotine raises your heart rate while ordering blood vessels all over your body to constrict. Meanwhile, toxic chemicals get stuck, causing countless tiny wounds all over your body that will turn into scars. Those scars leak proteins that create random blood clots, making your blood vessels even narrower. Constricted and narrow vessels put a lot of stress on your heart muscle that has to work much harder to keep blood flowing. Inside your skin, the chemicals trigger enzymes that break down collagen, the protein that makes your skin elastic and smooth.
There comes the wrinkles.
This creates folds and wrinkles. Your skin ages much quicker and you look older sooner. But maybe the worst thing is what happens to your immune system. All over your body it reacts to tiny wounds and activates, fighting an invisible enemy, damaging healthy cells in the process.
Something that is extra wild, I know that I'm pausing a lot here, but this is super informative. In the 1920s, a whole strategy was made to target women because at the time, 50% of the population worldwide, but mostly, let's focus here on the US, was not smoking. It wasn't really a thing. Later on, it started happening, becoming a bit more of a popular thing to indulge in, even for the lower class, with artists like, Edward Munch, the guy who did The Scream. He did make a painting called Self-Portrait with a Cigarette, where he's literally painting himself. But it was like a... what's the word I'm trying to find here? A sort of a rebellious move towards aristocracy to prove that they too could have access to tobacco. So it was something that more and more of the common folks started to indulge in. But in the US, with there being a stigma for women to not consume smokes, a dude called Edward Bernays, who I think is related to Sigmund Freud, the psychoanalyst dude, psychiatrist. I don't actually think the psychiatrist is the right word to use here. Neurologist might be a better word to use. He made a campaign where he decided to just make a cultural shift about it, where he had some women in high places having like stock photos taken of them at random during certain popular events, which, as they made it to the news, it became a popular thing. The way that smoke started to be advertised now targeted women a lot more, and such the public stigma about it started shifting, because it was all about the revenue, right? You needed to hit half of the other part of the population. So in that way, such thing as Marlboro, which funnily enough killed 4 of the actors from smoking diseases, became insanely popular towards a female demographic. And of course, there was a whole push about those things also aiding you in weight loss and beauty, funnily enough, which again is absolutely not scientific, as we clearly are seeing here with the breaking down of the collagen in your skin.
While at the same time, the nicotine makes it slow and sluggish, worse at fighting actual diseases. We could go on like this, but this is getting old. In a nutshell, every single one of your organs is highly stressed and suffers some kind of permanent damage. Over time, fats get stuck in the scars inside blood vessels, which get narrower and narrower until they start to suffocate your organs. Your overworked heart beats even harder to push blood through the extra resistance, and your blood pressure rises. So hard that fluids seep out of blood vessels into your lungs, which makes breathing even harder.
Ooh.
The likelihood of a blood clot blocking a critical passage in the body rises enormously, which can eventually cause a heart attack or a stroke. Almost all smokers eventually get chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So many of your alveoli are irreversibly destroyed that you're always short of breath, never able to breathe freely. Once you have it, it can only get worse, never better again. Finally, there's cancer. You get a sort of double whammy. On the one hand, you flood your whole system, and especially your lungs, with at least 70 highly cancer-causing chemicals.
Vinyl chloride. Oh my God.
And on the other hand, you paralyze the part of your immune system that kills and prevents cancer. This is why cancer is so likely in smokers. Ultimately, smoking is uniquely dangerous among the things you are legally allowed to do. The average smoker loses 10 years of life, which means that some lose like 5 years and others more like 25. You don't know which one will be you. But it cuts into your health span even more, making a much larger part of your life spent being chronically sick. Oof. So why don't smokers not just stop doing it?
I like how this entire thing has that very aspect that I was thinking that they were going with. It's not fear-mongering. It's just facts that are being laid forth, but with this cutesy animation style, which I think should be showcased to every schools. Again, I'm not going to tell people exactly what they do, just to let them know what they could be missing. And by missing, I mean literally years of their lives.
Smokers are often seen as unhinged or without discipline, which is unfair. Nicotine is one of the most physically and psychologically addictive substances known to humanity.
Yeah.
If you ever start using it, you'll likely struggle with it for the rest of your life. The physical addiction lasts around 3 days, but the psychological addiction is much harder to overcome because you form strong habits and it's connected to many social cues, like hanging out with friends or winding down from work.
Parties.
The perverse thing is that almost everybody who starts smoking as a teenager.
Yeah, they do that. I know so many of my friends who were only initially party smokers, but reverting from that is very difficult now, especially with the addition of vapes, which were marketed as supposedly a good replacement as they did not contain nicotine. The biggest lie ever told.
The tobacco industry has to target vulnerable brains and get them hooked on the pleasurable effects of nicotine, or it would go away. Today, about 1 billion people will light a cigarette, which is a lot, but at least the trends are looking good.
Yeah, remember the baby, the smoking baby there, whose mom was complaining that, oh, he's addicted. If he doesn't take his drag, he gets mad and starts banging his head.
Mom says he is totally addicted, and if he doesn't get the smokes, he gets angry, starts banging his head on the wall.
That's a literal thing. I'm going to find the clip here and put it here on screen. It was crazy.
In 2000, 34% of adults were smoking. In 2020, it was only 23%. Still, in 2023, about 8 million people died from it. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are many successful strategies for quitting. We've put links to some in the video description.
Like the use of the dead cowboy here, of course a reference to the Marlboro Man.
There are many successful strategies for quitting. We've put links to some in the video description. People who stop smoking by the age of 35 on average don't die earlier than non-smokers. If you're older than that, even quitting late can add years to your life. It's a bit like with climate change. Every bit counts, even if damage has already been done.
Yeah.
We're not the morality or health police, you do you. But at least be aware what exactly you're doing and why you're doing it. Most of you watching this don't smoke, so, well, just maybe never try it. Smoking only really solves a temporary problem, but it creates loads of permanent ones.
You know, there are good addictions out there, like mine, going to the gym. Most people will be like, oh, I go to the gym to get buff, to get girls. No, I just do it to stay sane.
Good thing I never started. But it's not like I never do things I know I shouldn't, like using sketchy free Wi-Fi's or downloading files without double-checking the source. We tried out NordVPN to relieve some of our existential dread. Go to nordvpn.com/kurzgesagt to make sure malicious websites are blocked, web trackers stopped, and pesky ads are hidden. NordVPN's threat protection scans files during downloads and remove malware and trackers automatically, and they warn you of any apps that seem risky. I'm looking at you there. On top, NordVPN offers many more features. Summer is travel season, and NordVPN encrypts your connection when you connect to unknown Wi-Fi stations in hotels, airports, or cafes. You can choose from over 6,000
Nice.
fast servers in 111 countries around the world. so you can also access your home content from abroad. You can also book flights, hotels, or rental cars more cheaply thanks to the price difference in different countries, regardless of whether you're surfing with a computer, tablet, or smartphone. NordVPN is compatible with all major platforms and can be used on 10 devices simultaneously. If you want to discover all the services NordVPN offers, go to nordvpn.com/kurzgesagt to get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan. All risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Habits can influence your life in a major way. They're basically hardwired shortcuts your brain uses to save energy and make decisions faster. So why not use this shortcut method to influence your life in a positive way? We created this habit journal to help you do exactly that. It contains scientific explanations, tutorials, and colorful illustrations to help you build the habits you want in your life. To be honest, we created it as much for ourselves as we did for you. We use it in our lives to help us implement habits like working out regularly, eating healthily, learning a language, reading more, or simply actually doing our hobbies instead of browsing Reddit.
Indeed. It's pretty wild now that actually disconnecting from things is the problem at the moment. I have like a kind of like a brain challenge app installed there. What is it called? Peak. This is not a promotion, but it just simply gives me some maths things to solve, some riddles as I go to bed, so that I can shift my focus away from just reading the news or whatever might be catching my attention. It's important to do that, stimulate your brain in other ways, and also actually makes it relax.
And we also included a few tips on how to reroute habits you want to get rid of, like smoking. Get it now from our shop. Improve your life in a science-backed way and support everything we do on this channel.
That was nice. I love this video. Great again because this one had very little, if no, actual fear-mongering. We're not actually seeing like the actual pictures of like lungs that are put on packages or whatever it is that the government tend to want to blast on young people today, which inevitably can work to a certain degree. Raising prices has been the most efficient one so far because, I do not still understand how many young people are actually affording to buy cigarettes. Perhaps they acquire money in a different way, but it is scary sometimes. But not to be harsh on anybody right now who is smoking. My best wishes for any of you who actually are on a journey to want to mitigate your consumption of it and or eventually just stop. Good on you if you already have, and a good win forward for those of you who are in that journey. That being said, thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, please do make sure to subscribe to Kurzgesagt if you haven't already. And of course, if you like this reaction, hit that like button. It will help a lot. That being said, wish you all to have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one. Bye.